Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to do a really fun and simple little page in our sketchbook. I'm using Posca paint markers. They're acrylic-based markers, which means they're not transparent, so they layer on wonderfully. We're going to use some tape today because I lost my favorite little ruler, but tape works just fine. This is not Scotch tape. This is artist tape. And the difference is artist tape is a bit less sticky, so it comes off more easily. But you can still have problems with it. You'll see what I mean in a couple of minutes. I am going ahead and lining the page with a frame. I didn't want the sketch to reach the far ends of the paper, but you can do whatever you like. There's a mark here, a smudge on my page, but since we're using Posca pens, it's not a problem at all. And I'm going to take a separate piece of tape to create a diagonal line in the middle of the page. Now, this is where I would have used my ruler, but the tape is going to work great because it stays in place. You just got to be a little more careful when you draw the line because it's not as thick as a ruler. And when you're done with drawing lines on both sides, you place the tape right next to the line you just drew, and you draw another line, and repeat this process until you fill the page. And using this tape means that we don't have to measure out exactly how wide each line needs to be, because the tape is the same size. So I'm doing the same sort of diagonal on the opposite side because I'm making diamonds. And this is where I mess up a little bit. I go ahead and draw my lines as normal. And then, I ripped it off too quickly, and I must have stuck the tape too much to the page, and I ripped the page. I could have started a whole new page, but since I knew I was using Posca paint pens, and because I don't like to waste paper, I just ripped off that little piece there, and I'm going to paint right over it. I know it's hard to see right now, but we are making a diamond shape pattern, sort of like an argyle, and it's kind of in honor of Valentine's Day. At least for me it is. I actually used to really despise Valentine's Day, but now that I'm a greeting card designer, I like to make homemade cards for my family. You don't have to make this Valentine's or love themed. As always, you can use any color, any medium you want. But I am curious, do you celebrate Valentine's? And if you do, what do you do? Do you make cards? Do you buy cards? Do you buy flowers, chocolates, gifts? I tend to get my kids candy, and I definitely eat some myself. As you can see here, all this is just coloring in these diamonds. I'm using a coral color and a larger Posca pen here, but my other Posca pens are the ones that are the easiest to use. They are 0.9 to 1.3 millimeters and they're bullet shaped. And Posca paint pens definitely tend to shed a little bit. You can see up there at the top right, I have a little scratch pad, and some of the paper lifts off if you press too hard. So that's where I get rid of like the little pieces of paper that get stuck to the tip. And I highly recommend you use it when you try to get more ink to come down to the tip. You don't want to do that right on the paper. I had an incident where a big pool of paint came out right on the scratch paper, which was great though, because I didn't have to keep pushing down on it. I just picked up the excess paint right off that glob that came out. This is my smaller Posca paint pen. It's a lot easier to get to the tips of the diamond, but the first diamonds don't matter as much as the last ones because you can paint right over this acrylic, which is wonderful. The smaller pens take a lot longer to fill in, but again, this is just a really therapeutic and easy sketchbook page, so you just enjoy the process. As you can see, I'm following a bit of a pattern here. I'm doing coral and then red on alternating lines, and the next lines will be other colors. Don't feel like you have to follow a pattern. You want to test out all your colors, go for it. You want to make a crazy rainbow, that's awesome. I'd love to see what you do as always. Don't hesitate to comment and let me know where I can see it, or tag me on Instagram at Christina Hunter Art. You can probably see a shine here on one of these turquoise diamonds. Don't forget that this does stay wet for a little while at least, so watch where you put your arm. Now for the really fun part, the designs in the middle of the diamonds. I went for little hearts here. It really doesn't matter if they're centered perfectly or if the hearts are kind of differently shaped. There is charm in the uniqueness of each one. You've probably heard me say this before, but the wonkier, the better. You could add any sort of design to the middle of these diamonds. You don't even have to stick to the middle of them. You could add designs to where all the colors meet, or just fill a whole diamond with polka dots, whatever you like. I could have stopped here after the hearts because it's really quite charming, but I wanted to take it a little further and add another design. I'm adding circles to the center of the turquoise diamonds because I'm going to make them into cute little flowers. If you're using paint pens and you use white like I am here, you'll probably need to go over them a couple of times if the paint below it is strong. And I was a little sloppy with this first flower, but the great thing about these acrylic markers is that you can go right over your mistakes, so it doesn't really matter at all. Here is where I'm making some of those corrections. It covers up so easily. And the most satisfying part, the removing of the tape. You can see I'm going much slower here, and I'm holding down the paper as I rip off the tape. I did not want to do any more damage to this page. And here we are, a pretty little diamond-shaped pattern. You can see here I did this once before. It's a bit smaller and it took a bit longer. The smaller you get, the longer it takes. But I love how that one looks as well. I think this would look great on the front of a greeting card, or if you know how to digitize your work, uploading it online and creating your own phone case or something like that. Thanks so much for joining me again, and I hope you have a wonderful day.